On June 18th, a 14-point Memorandum of Understanding was signed by the US and the Iranian counterparts in regard to the end of the war, plus the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Good job. Great job.
This came about after many weeks of talks and stalled negotiations.
We are now having really good discussions. They started last night. I think there's a very good chance we're going to end up in a deal. And so we're giving it 5 days. We're having productive negotiations. We've had very good negotiations. They're agreeing with us on the plan. We're doing extremely well in that negotiation. And it's looking very good that we're going to make a deal with Iran. And it's going to be a good deal. We're close to a deal. We're getting along very well. We've had some very good discussions. A lot of good things are happening. We have very good conversations going on. It's working out very well. They want to make a deal badly. They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. We've had very good talks. The talks are going very well. We're doing pretty well in terms of the negotiation. We're close to a very good deal. The negotiation itself is going very well, actually. Very well. We're doing really well. The situation with Iran seems to be going quite well. Thank you.
Sir, did you just say 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks that you'd be signing? You'll be signing a peace agreement in 2 or 3
we have a good chance of doing it. We should be able to do it in 1 hour.
That brought forth an MOU rather than a deal, whose details were not made public.
This MOU was signed despite multiple attempts by Israel to sabotage the deal to the repeated bombings and commitment to remain in southern Lebanon.
Rockets launched by Hezbollah. This came despite a warning from the Israeli defense minister against any retaliation from Hezbollah. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ruled out withdrawing Israeli troops from Lebanon. He said the army will remain in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria as long as necessary.
The president very frustrated with how the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has been responding to this, continuing to launch strikes in Lebanon right before this agreement was signed. You mentioned what he told Axios, but he also said this to the New York Times. He described Netanyahu to the New York Times as a very difficult guy and went on to say, to be honest with you, he should be very thankful for us, to us for doing this, because if Iran had a nuclear weapon, Israel wouldn't be around for 2 hours. That was a direct quote from the president. I think that just goes to show how tense this relationship between the U.S. and Israel is at this point. The president really not wanting them to threaten this upcoming agreement, John.
The Israeli prime minister has angered Donald Trump again. The U.S. president reportedly berated Benjamin Netanyahu for trying to derail the Iran deal, using expletives he later shared with the media. It was a rare public display of tension in the long-standing relationship between the U.S. and Israel. Until this rift, Donald Trump's time in office was viewed as a golden age for Israel.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
The U.S. president has given Israel unprecedented political and military support, going as far as imposing sanctions on UN officials and the International Criminal Court to shield Israel. Trump even intervened to end Netanyahu's corruption trials.
Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on.
Ending the Iran war is now straining Israel's most strategic alliance.
Trump praised the deal, claiming it was better than Obama's, but the MOU was seen as a pitiful compromise on the part of the U.S. in favor of Iran, which brought Trump heavy criticism.
Did the United States lose this war?
Yes. Yes. The United States has come out weaker. Iran has come out stronger. It's not even an agreement. It's a memorandum of understanding.
Okay, with that, we bring in Ben Shapiro, host of The Ben Shapiro Show. Ben, good to have you with us today. Your reaction to this MOU that we've all had a look at now, at least where it stands now, could be a little different when the signing happens, and also to what the president had to say there, Ben.
Well, I've said many times, the president deciding to go into Iran and to hit nuclear facilities in Operation Midnight Hammer, and then to go after Iran's ballistic missile facilities, nuclear facilities, Army, Navy, and Air Force in this current operation was the signal act of political bravery, perhaps, of my lifetime. With that said, this MOU appears to be, just from the text, a disaster that does not achieve any of the actual signal goals that were set by the administration at the beginning.
Withering criticism of the agreement the president signed with Iran, and a lot of it is coming from members of his own party. And this morning, before dawn, the president indicated he does not like these comments one bit. Now, the concerns raised include the pause in sanctions allowing Iran to sell oil immediately, the lack of specifics on curbing Iran's nuclear program, the opening for Iran to ultimately charge fees for ships to transit the Strait of Hormuz, and beyond the text of the plan, criticisms of the new comments that the president himself made suggesting Iran should be allowed to have missiles, even though one of the stated goals of the whole war was to destroy their missiles. Listen now to the critics.
Now, I don't want to see theocratic Islamists who want to kill us made stronger. So if this deal is giving them $300 billion, that's a mistake.
They're better off than they were before the hostilities began. And that should not be the consequence of war.
Some calling it an American surrender, saying it's even worse than the Obama deal of 2015. Now, Nikki Haley called it a, quote, huge mistake to pay to rebuild the threat we just destroyed. Senator Ted Cruz told the Daily Wire he felt like Trump was getting very poor advice and called it ill-advised.
On Friday, with this, the United States has officially acknowledged that Iran is a player. And that changes everything.
So I think that is one of the main results of this memorandum of understanding. Apart from the fact that in many ways, Iran has definitely won this war. Not only did it beat one nuclear superpower, it beat two, because Iran was being targeted by two nuclear superpowers, Israel and the United States.
But a closer look at the MOU shows it's not all that great for Iran either. In paragraph 13 of the MOU, it reads that the final 60-day negotiations will start once the U.S. begins to implement the other paragraphs, including releasing of frozen funds, meaning frozen Iranian funds will only be given back after 60 days of the signing, not immediately, but rather the process of releasing them will start, which is also highlighted in paragraph 11. In paragraph 8, Iran agreed to downblend its enriched uranium, but the MOU doesn't specify any technical details to ensure the implementation of that clause. In paragraph 9, we see the US will not deploy additional forces in the region, but American troops within proximity of Iran will not be withdrawn within 30 days of the negotiations after the signing of the MOU. In paragraph 6, a $300 billion reconstruction and economic fund is agreed on, but it will be undertaken by regional partners rather than the US, meaning that Iran will get the $300 billion through investments, not a cash handout, which could lead to espionage against Iran from regional spies loyal to the US. And even though Lebanon is mentioned in paragraph 1 of the MOU, Israel is unlikely to stop the bombing and occupation, just as they've never stopped the genocide and occupation of Gaza. Israel has been engaging in heavy warfare in southern Lebanon.
This is the deliberate, systematic destruction of whole Lebanese villages in the name of fighting Hezbollah. With each passing week, more and more of southern Lebanon is left looking like this, barely one brick on top of another. The white fence marks the border. On this side, pristine and untouched Israeli homes.
And suffered heavy losses, plus epic fails. Trump signed this MOU as things back home were very grim. And he did so despite pressure from Israel and heavy backlash from Jews to restart the bombing, which he refused to do. Not because Trump loves peace, but because he needs peace and the price of fuel to go down for the sake of his approval numbers with the midterm elections coming up.
And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah.